My name is Chad Boltice. I'm presenting our webinar today covering DMO catalog and extras as they are in visual impression. In a moment, we're going to hear from Ashley. She's going to talk about training. The next point down is pilot program, and Cindy will be talking about the pilot program. And then we're going to jump into the meat of the webinar where I go over extras and DMO, and we're going to wrap it up talking about community.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Stevenson, and I am the corporate trainer here for commercial products, as Chad said earlier. This is our upcoming training. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. If you're interested in training, we have a lot of upcoming events or opportunities for you. You'll see a path up at the top here, 2020spaces.com/training/commercial. If you go out there, you'll see the full training schedule. You're also able to see here just a couple of the highlighted ones coming up in the next 2 months, 2 to 3 months, I guess. On the left, you'll see the 2-day sessions. These are in-person classes. We have two-day sessions coming up in October. And the first one is in Cary. Those will be Worksheet, and then 2020 CAP and 2020 Visual Impression. Then we have another set coming up in November for Worksheet and CAP and Visual Impression in Dallas. And then the rest of the categories here are all our virtual classes that are coming up. So just the next 2 months kind of laid out for you by software. So we have a lot of Worksheet classes, CAP classes, Visual Impression, and Giza. Again, if you want to see all of the calendar, feel free to check out the website, 2020spaces.com/training/commercial.
Hi, everyone. This is Cindy. We talked about this in our last webcast, but we're beginning to recruit candidates for our 2020 pilot program. And what this is basically if you're ever interested in piloting our software when we're ready for a new release, we're building a pool of people to choose from. So if you want to see some of the software before it comes out or have some input early into it, you're welcome to join our 2020 pilot program. You can go out to the community and join the pilot program there. There's also a link on the website. So thank you.
So let's jump right on in. So some people may not even know what DMO is. They may not have heard of it, seen it, or used it. So here's a little overview. So what is DMO? DMO is a catalog of generic items that are available in CAP and Giza. For longtime CAP or Giza users, DMO might remind them of the example catalog in CAP or the generic catalog in Giza. DMO has one big point that it puts it above those two, is that it is being updated. We currently and actively support DMO, and you're going to see some of those updates today. So now you know what DMO is. Why do we have it in the software? Well, DMO was initially put in so that we would be able to demonstrate software in a generic way. So it would be agnostic and impartial, so we wouldn't show favoritism to a specific customer. If you're trying to demo the software for a Steelcase user, they probably don't appreciate that you're using null graphics and vice versa. DMO also provides unique items that aren't available in any other catalog. Those graphics are the non-furniture items, and these items enrich the drawing or the scene by adding some depth and richness. That's also the reason that extras exist within visual impression. So where and how do we access DMO extras? So first, I'm going to start off in CAP here, and they're listed right with, DMO is listed right with all the other manufacturers. Just scroll down alphabetically, get to DMO. In Giza, it's also listed right where the other manufacturers are. I happen to have DMO already open, but if you didn't have it open, you just click on that button for their content, find the manufacturer. There's only one catalog for DMO, and you'd hit OK. And where would we find the extras within visual impression? Okay, extras and within visual impression, I just have it open here already. If you're in the room mode of visual impression, it pops up a palette on the left-hand side. You're going to see extras, fixtures, and lights. Okay. So extras, it is the same type of thing as DMO does itself inside of CAP and Giza. Equipment, office supplies, accessories. The thing that it does that extras does not have, the DMO has, is lights. because in visual impression, lights are broken out and they are separate. Let me click over here into lights. And even within visual impression, the lights themselves, there are more lights in visual impression than there are available within DMO. In visual impression, you have ceiling lights and wall lights available to you. So I'm going to click on floor lights here, actually. I'm going to place one. Just going to click it, I'm going to move it up. Another big difference when you come to lights in visual impression is that you can make them throw out light. So I'm going to change this to an HQ scene so we can see some shadows. So right now, I have the lamp, this floor lamp selected. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a slider that tells you that light output. So these lamps are light emitting. So depending on where I put that slider, I can make the lamp brighter, I can make it dimmer. So that's a pretty cool thing. It makes the light fixture much more realistic, and it can help a little bit if you have a particular area in a space that needs to be lit a little bit brighter. You want a little bit more attention brought to it. You can make it more lifelike and put a lamp in and turn the light on there. Okay, fixtures. Fixtures are something that is unique to visual impression. They do not exist anywhere inside of DMO. And the reason they're only inside of visual impression is that these items here are wall specific or scene specific or floor specific. They are electrical, HVAC, and other. Other, if I were to drill into it, there are two different shaped mirrors and a rug. These things are sizable within the space. So let me switch over. There's the rug. I can resize it. Let's look at some of the other fixtures too. So I can put some electrical items in. There are light switches. These are, United States, North America, and Canada, but we also have some other types for different parts of the world. What it's going to do is it's going to pop into the center of your screen, and then you have to move that right up to the wall. You can change the height. And the rotation when you feel like it. I can put in also some HVAC items, things like floor radiators, grills, vents, even a fireplace insert. Here's this. Don't want to make it pop through the wall though. There we go. So snug it right up against the wall like that. So all of these items under fixtures are specific to visual impression. So you're going to have to put them in here if you want them in your scene. So I'm going to close out of here, and I don't want to save any changes right now. All right. So let's get into CAP. Now for this presentation, I'm doing all of my placement of the DMO items inside of the drawing. That's the way that I work. I think it's quite often it's easier to do it this way. It allows you to have, you guarantee that the placement is proper relative to the rest of the drawing items that you put in. You can get things that sit on the work surface just so. It also means that if you send your drawing off to any other kind of rendering engine other than visual impression, those items will be there. So I mentioned in the beginning here that DMO is being updated. And an area that you're going to see updates is the fact that you now have stairs available to you. So here are a handful of different types of stairs. I'm going to go ahead and click on these, and as I was picking through there, you see that each one of the types has 3 different heights: 8 feet high, 9 feet high, and 10 feet high. Okay, so it's got a couple of stairs in here. Just going to save this a second. This one. And I'm going to visualize this so you can see how they're going to be taking options and how they look in visual impression. So I got to pick a room shape. Doesn't matter for right now. All right. I'm actually going to turn the circular stair off because it gets a little bit busy in the scene. These stairs are quite large for the default room size. Okay. So let's apply some materials. All right. So the stairs are broken up into different components. The first section you're going to be optioning here is the stair frame material. This is just the frame of the stairs. And as I apply items, you'll see that this is what is considered the frame. Now it asks for the stair rise material, the front face of that. I'm going to choose dark gray there as well. The run material, I'm going to apply a different type of material. I'm going to apply wood. Horizontal stair rail material, I want to make it metal, and I'm going to make that chrome. So it might have been a little bit hard to see right there, but it's these horizontal things, they're cables. Now it's going to do the vertical stair material. I'm going to do dark gray again. Now the group handrail, I'm going to pick an environmentally friendly bamboo handle. So here we have some stairs. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Pop it and just do an HQ, just for the little tease right now. And as the render window progresses up, you can see that this cable, which I specified as chrome, in quite a few places it's pretty dark. It's because it's chrome, it's a reflective material, and it's picking up the little bit of space around it, which is dark. In a few places you can see it's white. So depending on what you have in the room and depending on what you have near the stairs, if you have lights in the stairs, those would reflect light as well. Right? So those are pretty complex, pretty cool. But maybe you don't want to have the stairs be quite so obvious, quite so in your face. We also allow you to apply a glass finish to the stairs. And when you apply this glass finish at the very top level, it applies it to the entire thing. So the idea of this is that the stairs are still there, and you can see that they're going to be taking up space, and you can see that they give a nice look to the scene, but it doesn't overpower the furniture that's in the scene. So if you apply frosted glass or one of the opaque ones, if you do clear, they're really clear. It's like they're almost not there. Frosted is the one that I've found to look the nicest. It allows the scene to be seen. It allows the stairs to actually still be represented. All right, so I'm going to close out of this. I have a prepared scene that I got ready ahead of time. And we're going to start off by going in to visualize these scenes. So this is going to, so far I've spoken about what DMO is, why we have it, and now I'm going to be going over how you would use it. So within this drawing, I have 4 unique scenes. We're going to get to each one of these scenes. The first one we're going to look at, though, is the no options, the plain room. So this is as plain as you get. So for all of the scenes that you're going to be seeing today, I actually did use DMO Furniture, giving a manufacturer in specific or agnostic performance here. And I actually have the presentation finishes turned off. If I had these checked on, they would come in with some basic finishes, but I wanted it to be as plain looking as possible. So some people, what they'll do is they would come in and for their first take of showing the customer, they would turn off the walls, they would change the floor to a different material. And this is how they might show. They also might show as a hidden line. So this gives you an idea of the furniture itself, keeping color out of the issue. But there's quite a few people that aren't going to be able to quite absorb the scene that way. Designers can, because designers have a little bit better visual imagination than most people. So I'm going to take you to the next scene, which is going to be the items optioned out, so they have some manufacturer finishes put on them, and they're in just a basic room. I'm going to turn on presentation finishes. So we have some black leather on the chairs. Okay, so this is an okay scene. You might turn off the walls and change the floor to white and do a nice sterile kind of view to give to the customer. And that works in some cases. In some cases, it won't work. In the cases that it's not going to work, what you may want to do is you may want to customize the room itself. Rather than just having the furniture in an empty square room or just a blank square room where everything's white, you want to make the room shaped specific. And the way that this room was shaped specific is that I drew another scene boundary around the same set of items as you saw in just the last scene, so that when I came into visual impression, it prompted me for what room shape I wanted to use. And for this particular room, I have this L shape where there's an alcove off to the left in the back. But this might not be still quite good enough for what you would want to show the customer. You'd want to change some floor finishes, want to change the wall finishes to what they have. And I'm going to take you to my fourth scene to show that. Okay, so this is the most tweaked out scene that I have. I'm going to take a break for a second here, and I'm going to go over some of the logic that I have behind why I would suggest that this is a good idea for you to do to a scene. The term staging is what is used when a house is for sale and the owner wants to change the look of the house to make it more saleable. The changes could be basic, like refreshing the paint, but it can also be quite a bit more elaborate, and you might even hire a professional stager. And there's good reason that this is done. There's good reason to stage a house. A 2015 report by the National Association of Realtors states that over 95% of buyers' agents say that home staging has at least some effect on the buyer's view of the home. So these are the realtors that are working with people that are buying a home. They're saying that a staged home affects their clients who are buying the home 95% of the time. That same report also states that over 81% of buyers find it, quote, easier to visualize the property as their future home, end quote, when it is staged. So what that means is that if you can kind of virtually stage your scene to look like what your client would want to work in, then you make it more likely that you're going to be able to sell that design. And on top of that, there's an old saying that says you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. That doesn't apply just to people, it does apply to projects. As designers, you probably go on customer visits. So if you're visiting a customer where they're going to be doing some renovations, or if you're visiting the customer to get more information on what their needs are, as you walk around the office of the client, look and see the types of ways that they work. Is everything very, very neat? Do they have, you're looking obviously for the type of furniture that they have, because they're probably going to want something similar, but also look at the way that they work. Look at the desks. Are the desks Very tidy. Do they have notebooks around? Do people work on laptops or do people work on desktop computers? Do they have coffee mugs on their desk? In a meeting room, might they have something that looks like this, where there's some paper scattered around the desk showing people sitting there working with some water bottles in the room, water bottles available for anybody else that might be joining them. It's those kinds of things that you can use as data points to help you figure out how to make your scene look the best. So I can render this in HQ. I'll do that for you right now. HQs go relatively quickly, but I have some HQ Plus images that I want to show you as soon as this gets done rendering that I think represent a very well staged scene. And I also say take the visualization with a little bit of a grain of salt, because it's going through the internet and through WebEx. The quality gets degraded a little bit every step of the way. But anybody who's used visual impression knows that it can get pretty precise. It can get pretty nice looking. So there is a fully HQ rendered scene. Now let's take you and show you some other scenes. Here's that same scene with HQ Plus. See the nice soft shadows on the floor. There's a glass wall here that I had put in. It's a little bit hard to see in the way that this scene is lit, but you can see the stairs in the background, the lights in the wall, the way that the light reflects off of everything. Here's another scene, same basic area done with a different manufacturer. All right, here is a similar scene, a little bit different setup. This is a little bit more corporate looking. This is not so much a working room. So that's another thing that you can take into consideration when you're setting up a room, when you're staging a room. You can do it one of two ways. You can make it the lived-in look, or you can do the more old-school look where it's less day-to-day work-related items sitting out, and you make it more of what the room would look like as if it were sitting waiting for work to be done in it. So this particular conference room, it just is sitting here waiting for someone to come in and use it. It has basic phone on the table there. It has lamps. It has a projector screen or a large monitor waiting for it. This wall in the back is a special that I created. So that's another thing that you can work into your staging. Put in some graphics that we don't have in DMO, that we don't have enough demand for, but you have need for. You can make a special. We've done some webinars on those before, so there's some recordings on YouTube on our channel for that. In the background, you can see the stairs, the way the lights lit up on the wall. This just looks like a really well put together scene, in my opinion. Then here's the same scene from a different viewpoint. So I'm done with showing you how to do things specifically within VI. Let's go back to VI, and I'm going to be showing you how you can use DMO finishes to help make things look more realistic or to customize them for your clients. Okay. So I'm going to be showing you a couple of different ways that you can use DMO materials, or actually any materials, but specifically this time we're going to be touching on DMO, because DMO has a very wide cross-section of types of finishes, and of those types, it has a pretty decent collection of finishes within them. So while other manufacturers might have things that are geared toward their line and might be technically better, like their cherry versus our cherry, their cherry may look a little bit better, but we have a broad base that you can use. So if you need glass, we have glass. If you need brass, we have brass. If you need some kind of aluminum or stainless steel, we'll have those things. We have basic paints, basic finishes, basic fabrics that you can use on any type of item. So here we are in visual materials here. I'm going to have that floating right over top. I expand out manufacturers, find the 2020 enriched data demo, And this time, I'm going to be doing something with glass. Let's just say that I have a customer or a client that wants this table, but they want it custom made. They want that to be a glass top. Using visual materials, I can do that. So I have the table selected in the background. I'm on the advanced view. I'm going to take this gray glass, and I'm going to take it and drag it and drop it right onto there. So now you can see that that glass is applied to everything on that layer. And if a graphic is broken up a little bit different, if you were to do this on a different table, the edge trim may be its own separate layer, and you'd have to apply that glass to the edge trim as well. What that allowed us to do is that allowed us to basically make a really different looking table. I mean, that really changes the look of the space compared to the wood finish. So drag and drop. The other way that you can do it is you can, within visual materials, you can build your own color palettes. So we have color palettes down here. I'd already created a color palette that has frosted and gray glass in it. I access that right here within Visual Impression on the Advanced tab again. First, I'll take off that gray glass, make it go back to the original cherry. Now I can slide that glass over like that. If there's common finishes that this customer's asked for previously, I can also access those in here. Now, the thing that I did there where I had two different choices and dragged them out, that also points out the differences and the benefits of applying these materials one or two different ways. If you do a drag and drop directly out of visual materials, that allows you to try a whole bunch of different finishes all at once without actually creating anything. You don't need to create a color palette that has many different things in it that you're not going to use. If I wasn't sure that that gray glass is going to work, I could have dragged the gray. No, I don't like that. Well, no, I wonder what it's going to look like with there. See what I do? Play with fire. When you use the drag and drop out of visual materials, it allows you to drag and drop many different things in there until you find the right one. Once you've found the right little color set that you want to use, you would save all those into a color palette. So if you have the same table is going to be in many places and many scenes, you'd want to save off that gray glass as a finish to use in other scenes. So you don't have to keep going back to that. They're all nice and handy and they're ready to go right here. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Thank you for joining us. And there is a screen that's up right now that talks about the community. And you can find that by going to 2020spaces.com/community. The community is a place where you can communicate with your other users. You can ask questions there, and your fellow users, the ones who use it every single day, they can give you their tips and hints the same way that you eventually would give them your own tips and hints. We as 2020 employees here, we monitor the community page. We check out those forums. We'll also come in when there are more technical questions that are being asked that we think are actually more of a tech support or a customer support kind of deal. We'll come in and we'll make a comment and we'll say, we think this is best. Why don't you give us a call? If we see common things being asked for or common problems that are being brought up or mentioned, we take that to heart. We do value those things. And as Cindy mentioned earlier, if you want to be part of the pilot program or get into that pilot pool, you need to first be registered on community. And for everyone sitting in on this webinar, I would hope that you're all commercial people. And if you're a commercial person, the part of the community that you would be most interested in, most likely to post in, is the cube. That's everything to do with planning and furniture for offices and businesses. So the cube is where you're going to go. So if anybody wants to, any of my fellow panelists want to jump in, they can.
I'm answering Oksana. Hey guys, this is Vanessa. Chad, I just wanted to highlight one of the big questions we're getting right now from everybody is, where did you find those awesome stairs? So just highlight that that's coming in the September data update. So you guys don't have it yet in your demo catalog. But Chad, can you go back and just show where those stairs were found?
Yep, sure can. So the stairs, when you get the DMO catalog, they're going to be stored under accessories. They're listed right here with stairs, and once you get in, you're going to see all the different types. I actually had a document that I was supposed to show you, because when we make updates to DMO, we do document them and we do tell people about them, but they're not frequently seen because they're in the release notes. Release notes are what you get when you install the service pack. I put a comment in here into the service pack update notes because I think this is one of the more likely places that people would see it. Thank you for joining us.